One night, though, I was reminded how different things really were. My friends Joshua and Mordecai and I were walking home from the Zionist Sports Club at around 9 o'clock. We had been practicing martial arts all evening, but we weren't tired. A fresh layer of snow lay on the ground, and we were feeling happy and full of energy. We threw snowballs and chased one another down the streets. We had paused at a street corner to say goodbye when 4 boys in Hitler Youth uniforms came up behind us. Perhaps they had followed us, I don't know. These were the perfect Aryans, children training to be future leaders of Hitler's Germany, the Germany that had no place for Jews. "Hey, Jew boy," one called, "didn't your mother ever teach you to wash?" "Yours should wash your mouth out with soap," I replied. "Why, you—" He turned red. Couldn't believe a Jew had actually answered him back. And then suddenly they were all over us. But even at their 4 to our 3, they were no match for us. The blue-eyed blonde who'd taunted me was soon flat on his stomach, his face in the snow. "Give up?" I asked. "No," he screamed, struggling. I sat on him hard and pushed his face further into the snow. "Now?" "Yes, yes, let me up." He scrambled up and raced off with the others. The 3 of us laughed and joked about it, but as I lay in bed that night, I knew that none of us had found it fun or funny. We were separate now from everyone else in Frankfurt. Separate and somehow less important. Not as good as the pure, real Germans. And everywhere there were posters, exhibits, and articles that described to the German people how terrible Jews were. I knew I was no different from them, and yet sometimes I wondered. In fact, I took Erica to see a newsreel about one of those exhibits. I look at the next picture. Little Erica standing with her violin, staring seriously into the camera. Under it is written June 1938. Erica was 9, a little mouse. She had brown wavy hair and brown eyes and a little nose that she would rub when she was worried. Uncle Walter had begun teaching her violin when she was only 4 years old because she'd begged and begged him. From the moment she attended her first symphony to hear her Uncle Walter play, all she wanted to do was learn the violin. She is so much like Mother, quiet, calm, but she's also terribly shy. Everything she feels, she expresses in her music. Shortly after this picture was taken, Erica and I went to the movies. I wanted to go because I'd heard that before the feature they were showing a newsreel about a public exhibition called The Eternal Jew, which was coming to Frankfurt. This exhibition was created for one purpose only, to convince German people of how disgusting Jews were. I just had to see it. I wanted to know what they were saying about us. I was looking after Erica, so I dragged her along. She was devastated by it. The newsreel described what was in the exhibit, a picture of Jews as slave drivers, thieves, and madmen, unlike the upstanding, honorable German people. I tried to laugh at it all, but inside I was terrified. Erica wept silently until I was so guilt-stricken at having taken her that we got up and left. Auntie Leah waved to us from across the street. "Daniel, Erica, I've been looking everywhere for you. Come on." Erica and I hurried over to her, relieved there was someone to take us home. I felt like everyone on that street knew we were Jewish, that they would gladly rip us to shreds or try to stamp on us as if we were bugs. Mother and Father were furious with me when they heard where I had taken Erica, and I was sent to my room for the rest of the day and evening. That night I had a dream. In the dream, Erica and I went to the movies and saw the horrible newsreel, just as we had that afternoon. When we came out, Auntie Leah called to us, her voice shrill. "Come on!" Suddenly, someone on the street yelled, "Hey, I know her! She lives near me! She's a Jew! Let's get her! Teach her a lesson!" And then the people on the street moved as one as they went after her. Jew! Filthy vermin! They punched her and kicked her, and then began ripping off her clothes. "Run, Erica, run!" I screamed, and I pushed her away. Erica ran. I threw myself into the mob, screaming, "Leave her alone! Leave her alone!" I punched and kicked, but they punched and kicked back. Finally, Auntie Leah grabbed me, covered me up, threw her body over me, and went limp. Slowly the crowd lost its momentum and began to disperse. Auntie Leah got up. Her clothes were in tatters. There was a terrible gash along her cheekbone, and 2 bottom teeth were gone. "Daniel, are you all right?" she whispered. She was only worried about me. I started to cry. "I'm sorry," I said. "I'm sorry." "It wasn't your fault," she said. Perhaps she thought I was apologizing for being in the wrong place at the wrong time. How could she know I was sorry that I'd never liked her, and now this had happened to her, and I still didn't know if I liked her? But I knew that no human being deserved to be treated that way, whether I liked her or not. I kept repeating how sorry I was, and I took off my shirt and gave it to her. Father and Mother came with Erica, and then Mother started to cry. And I started to scream because I was scared. How could this happen? Wasn't this Frankfurt? My home? And I screamed and screamed, "Daniel, Daniel, wake up! You're having a nightmare." My mother was holding me tight. "It's all right, sweetheart, you're safe. Nothing's going to hurt you." "It's that movie," she scolded. "No wonder you're having nightmares." The next day, Father called a family conference to discuss what should be done about leaving or staying in Germany. Maybe he had started to realize that his children were going to grow up in fear. And he didn't want that for us. Uncle Aaron announced he had applied for visas to England, and that they would leave the moment the visas came through. He said we should all do the same. "Now listen," Uncle Peter said. "For 1,000 years, Jews have survived pogroms, ghettos, and anti-Jewish laws, and we'll survive this. It's just more of the same. It'll pass." "Maybe," Mother said slowly, "this is different." "Ruth," Father said to my mother, "if it is different, we have to do something. It's time to think about going. David can sponsor us to go to the United States. Tomorrow you should go and fill out applications for our visas." My mother nodded her head, and she did go the next day. But Uncle Peter was wrong that it would all just pass away. He was arrested a few days later for having pleaded guilty 6 years earlier to 2 parking violations. He was taken away to Dachau concentration camp. Auntie Leah stared into nothingness as she told Mother what had happened. "He got those tickets when Bridget was born. I was in labor and we couldn't find a parking place, so I screamed at him. Park illegally, we'll get a ticket, so what? Should I have the baby in the car instead? Oh, God help us, what is happening? Oh, God help us, what is happening?"